Welcome back, deep divers. Today, we're going down the Anunnaki rabbit hole. You know, those mysterious beings some folks whisper about in connection with ancient civilizations and maybe even some of those conspiracy theories.
Oh, yeah, the Anunnaki.
So for this deep dive, we've got 3 YouTube videos, all featuring, well, folks under hypnosis. They're sharing their experiences and visions about these Anunnaki beings.
Interesting.
Now, I know you might be thinking, hypnosis, is that, like, reliable?
Yeah.
And that's a fair point.
Yeah.
But think of it like this. We're treating these sessions as narratives, like stories.
Okay.
You know, stories that maybe offer us a peek into a different way of understanding our history and maybe even ourselves.
Makes sense. It's like we're looking at these sessions not as scientific proof, but as a window into these people's beliefs and experiences. And even if we don't take everything literally, they can still teach us something about how people think about these ancient mysteries.
Exactly. So jump in with us because the details these sessions unearth are, well, they're pretty thought-provoking.
I bet. So who are these Anunnaki? For folks tuning in for their first deep dive into this topic, what are we even talking about?
Right, because this might be their first swim in the Anunnaki pool, so to speak.
Exactly. So could you give us like a quick overview of what we're dealing with here?
Of course. So in a lot of traditions and interpretations, the Anunnaki are often seen as this ancient advanced civilization. And they're credited with, influencing the development of early human societies. Think of them like mysterious figures from way back when,
Okay.
with knowledge and technology that goes way beyond what we might expect. They pop up in stories about creation, about how societies advanced, and sometimes even in stories about the origins of humanity itself.
Wow, so we're talking big stuff here. Origins of humanity. That's like a pretty major claim.
Yeah, definitely a force to be reckoned with, at least according to these narratives.
Got it. So let's dive into those narratives. Across all 3 of these hypnosis sessions, how do they describe the Anunnaki? What's the common thread?
Well, there's this recurring theme.
Okay.
They're painted as this powerful ancient civilization, and they've got advanced technology. Especially, they seem to have a deep understanding of the Earth's energy systems.
Ah, so they're like energy masters.
Yeah. Think of it like they're masters of manipulating forces that we're like just starting to grasp, almost like a civilization that's plugged into the very essence of reality.
Interesting.
And in fact, one subject even calls them masters of wave manipulation.
Wave manipulation, what does that even mean?
They talk about them controlling the elements and even get this materializing objects from the ether.
The ether, that's a pretty loaded term. In physics, it's this hypothetical medium that everything exists in, but it's also often used in mystical traditions to describe like a spiritual energy.
Right, and it's not quite clear what this subject means by it.
So we're already in pretty mysterious territory, but it sounds like we're talking about a level of technology that goes way beyond anything we can imagine.
Totally, like not your everyday iPhone kind of technology.
Not even close. And what's really fascinating is that there's this recurring link between the Anunnaki and all those ancient megalithic structures that we find all over the world.
You mean like the pyramids? Stonehenge?
Exactly.
Yeah.
2 of the subjects suggest that those weren't just like monuments.
Right.
They think they were tools for harnessing energy or even transmitting information.
It's like an ancient technology we've totally lost touch with. Makes you wonder what those structures were really for.
It really does. I mean, were they designed as like some kind of giant energy grid? Or did they have a purpose we can't even comprehend with our current understanding of physics?
It's like we're staring at the remnants of a hyper-advanced civilization and trying to put the pieces together with our limited knowledge.
Exactly.
Okay, so far so good. We've got this image of a super advanced ancient civilization.
Right.
They've got an almost magical grasp of energy, but there's another side to this story.
Yeah.
It's not all sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah, not exactly.
There's this kind of unsettling feeling that comes through in these sessions.
What do you mean?
Well, they all seem to agree on this one thing. The Anunnaki saw humans as a lesser species.
Really?
Yeah, they talk about the Anunnaki controlling humans, using them for their own purposes. It's not the most flattering picture.
I could see that. It definitely makes you question like the nature of power.
Right, like if they were so advanced, why even bother with humans? What could we possibly offer them?
It's a good question. Some theories out there say they were after our resources, our labor, or maybe even something even more profound.
Okay, like what?
Well, some folks believe they were interested in our genetic material,
Our DNA.
or even our emotional energy.
Whoa, hold on. Emotional energy. That's
Yeah,
that's a whole other level of weird.
I know, right? But it adds this whole other layer of complexity to their relationship with us. Makes you think about all those subtle ways power dynamics can play out, not just through force, but through messing with emotions and perceptions.
Definitely creepy. Okay, so we've got them manipulating us, but where do they even come from? Two of the sessions describe them as extraterrestrial.
Extraterrestrial, huh?
Yeah, they talk about them originating from like a wandering planet ship or even a whole system of planets. That just throws a whole other wrench in the works, doesn't it?
It definitely does. I mean, the idea of ancient astronauts has been around for decades. It's been a topic of debate and fascination. What's interesting here is that these accounts seem to they blend that idea of extraterrestrial origins with advanced technology. Like there's a connection between these cosmic journeys and having this incredible knowledge.
Right? Like they didn't just show up. They came here with a purpose.
Mhm.
And then there's the whole question of what these beings even looked like. One subject describes this hierarchy within Anunnaki society.
A hierarchy.
Yeah, they talk about these tall, white-skinned beings with these striking blue or green eyes calling the shots.
Like a ruling class.
Right, and then there are these shorter, more human-looking beings.
Mhm.
They're described as workers or maybe even a hybrid workforce. Sounds like something out of Star Wars, doesn't it?
It does, kind of. But remember, we're exploring narratives here.
Right.
These are stories that might reflect our own, fears and fascinations about power and things we don't understand. That idea of a hierarchical society where you can tell who's in control just by how they look, that's a theme that pops up all over human history.
Yeah, you've got a point.
Yeah.
And then there's that whole reptilian connection. Almost every session mentions reptilian beings.
Reptilian beings, like lizard people.
Well, either as the Anunnaki's true form or a big part of their genetic makeup.
That's interesting. That reptilian motif pops up in a lot of cultures and mythologies.
Right. From ancient serpent gods to modern conspiracy theories. It's like this primal fear or maybe even a recognition of a different kind of intelligence.
It's like we're hardwired to be fascinated by these reptilian creatures, and one of the sessions even suggests that the Anunnaki went through this process of genetic modification or devolution to adapt to Earth's environment.
Like they shifted from reptilian form to something more human-like?
Exactly. It raises all these questions about, the way physical forms can change and the possibility that beings could manipulate their own biology to fit different environments.
It also plays into that whole idea of a connection between reptilian beings and humans, maybe suggesting a shared ancestry or even genetic manipulation.
Okay, so we've got this picture of the Anunnaki.
Right.
They might be extraterrestrial, they're technologically advanced, maybe they're reptilian, and they're definitely not just here for a vacation.
Nope. They've got an agenda, and it seems like we're part of it.
And that's what we'll be digging into next. Okay, so we've explored who the Anunnaki might be and where they come from. But let's get into their relationship with humanity. That's a big theme running through all three of these hypnosis sessions.
Yeah, and this is where it gets really interesting, but also kind of unsettling.
Oh.
Two of the sessions describe the Anunnaki as teachers, sharing knowledge with early humans.
That's nice of them.
Yeah, but was it purely out of the goodness of their non-existent hearts?
I see where you're going with this.
Not so much. It seems like they had some ulterior motives.
Okay, like what?
Well, one subject describes an Anunnaki teacher giving this knowledge of construction, healing, and music to a primitive tribe.
Sounds benevolent, right?
Right. But the subject says it was ultimately about control, shaping this tribe to serve their needs.
Classic case of knowledge is power, I guess. You give a little, you take a lot. And it sounds like all three sessions agree that that the Anunnaki were all about exploiting human potential.
Oh, yeah. They saw humans as this resource to be mined, like for labor, genetic material, even that weird emotional energy we talked about earlier.
The idea of humans as a resource for a more advanced civilization, That's kind of disturbing, but it makes you think, about our place in the universe.
Well,
Like, are we really in control of our own destiny, or are there forces at play that we're only just starting to understand?
you mentioned genetic manipulation earlier. That seems kind of far-fetched, doesn't it? I mean, what evidence is there for that besides these hypnosis sessions?
It is definitely speculative, but some researchers point to these unexplained gaps in human evolution. Like there are these sudden leaps in development that don't quite fit the traditional evolutionary timeline. And mainstream science might have other explanations, sure, but the idea of external influence, whether that's extraterrestrial or something else entirely, it keeps intriguing those who question the conventional narrative.
Okay, I can see that. Let's go back to these sessions for a minute, though. In one of them, there's this talk about the Anunnaki using something called wave technology,
Mm.
and apparently they could use that to manipulate not just physical matter, but even human consciousness.
Whoa.
It's like they had this ability to implant thoughts and beliefs and even emotions into our minds.
That's a wild idea. But to be fair, we are exploring the idea of a civilization that's way ahead of us technologically, right?
Right.
So maybe wave technology is something we haven't even conceived of yet.
Okay, okay. I'm trying to keep an open mind here.
Yeah.
But this is getting pretty far out there. How much of this is based on like actual evidence versus just speculation or even, just plain imagination?
It's a good question. We have to remember that we're dealing with a mix of personal experiences, interpretations, and cultural beliefs here. It's always important to approach these narratives with a healthy dose of skepticism.
Right.
But even if we take the most out there claims with a grain of salt, there are still some really interesting questions worth exploring.
Like, for example, one subject in this session describes the Anunnaki as having this distinct energy signature. They call it a golden light.
Golden light. Okay, so what's that all about?
Well, they describe this golden light as this powerful source of knowledge and information. It's almost like a cosmic library or a database that the Anunnaki can access, and they can they can download information from it.
That's a pretty trippy image.
The subject even talks about specific locations on Earth where this energy is especially strong, places that were sacred to the Anunnaki, where they could tap into the Earth's energy grid.
This reminds me of those ideas about ley lines and energy vortexes, Those places where the Earth's energy is supposed to be especially powerful.
Yeah, exactly. What if the Anunnaki, with their advanced technology, were actually able to tap into this energy grid and use it for their own purposes?
It's an interesting thought. So are you saying there might be a connection between those ancient esoteric traditions and what these people are describing under hypnosis?
It's definitely a possibility, right?
Right.
Maybe these traditions that have been, passed down through generations, maybe they hold these little pieces of knowledge about a time when humanity interacted with beings who had a completely different understanding of reality,
Okay, I'm with you.
of energy, of consciousness itself.
Yeah, that's pretty mind-blowing.
Okay, my mind is officially blown too. But let's keep going. There's this idea that the Anunnaki weren't just influencing our physical world; they were messing with our creativity too.
Okay, how so?
Well, one subject says that they were responsible for inspiring human art and music, and even scientific discoveries.
Really?
Yeah, they were subtly influencing our minds with this golden light energy.
It's like they were planting these seeds of ideas and inspiration into human consciousness. But of course, there's always a flip side to these things, right?
Right.
This session also talks about the Anunnaki using their technology to actually suppress certain human abilities,
Right.
particularly those related to psychic powers and spiritual awareness.
So they were giving with one hand and taking with the other.
Exactly. It's like they wanted to keep us from reaching our full potential, maybe because they saw those abilities as a threat to their control.
Yeah, I can see how that would fit into their agenda. If they wanted to manipulate us, it would be much easier if we weren't fully aware of our own power.
Exactly. And there's another interesting twist in this session. The subject describes the Anunnaki as just one level in this whole complex web of beings and energies that are influencing our world. They talk about interdimensional beings and this cosmic hierarchy that governs the interactions between different levels of reality.
So it's not just about us and them. There's this whole like cosmic ecosystem out there with different beings and forces all competing for power and influence.
It's a mind-bending idea, but it also makes you realize how limited our current understanding of the universe really is. You know, we tend to view reality through this very narrow lens.
Right.
But what if there are dimensions and energies that we just can't perceive with our limited senses? What if all those stories about gods and angels and demons are just glimpses into these other realms?
Okay, I'm starting to feel like I'm falling down the rabbit hole here. But let's stick with the Anunnaki for now.
Good idea.
We've explored their origins, their
Oh,
technology, their relationship with humanity. But what about their presence today? Are
yeah.
they still around, lurking in the shadows, pulling strings?
That's a question that's fueled countless conspiracy theories.
And some of those theories get pretty wild. But what do these hypnosis sessions say about the Anunnaki today?
Well, you won't believe this, but they offer some pretty different perspectives on that.
Okay, like what?
One of them describes the Anunnaki as having retreated to like an underground
An
city.
underground city.
Yeah, almost like they've become allergic to all the electromagnetic frequencies from our modern technology.
So like they couldn't handle the Wi-Fi signal. It's kind of funny when you think about it. These super advanced beings being driven away by something we totally take for granted.
It's funny, but it also makes you think, right, about the nature of technology and progress. What we consider advanced might be disruptive or even harmful to beings with a completely different understanding of energy and consciousness.
Yeah, that's a good point. But another session says that they're still living among us,
Yeah.
but as this elite society,
Yeah.
influencing governments and social structures. Sounds a little conspiracy theory-ish, doesn't it?
It does, kind of. It definitely taps into that deep-seated human suspicion of hidden agendas and the people in power. That idea that there are these powerful unseen forces shaping our world. That's a theme that keeps coming up throughout history.
Right, whether we're talking about secret societies or government conspiracies or even ancient astronauts.
Exactly. And then there's that third session, the one with the Intergalactic Federation.
Oh yeah, the Intergalactic Federation.
Yeah.
They only let a limited number of Anunnaki stay on Earth.
Right, because of this cosmic governing body, it's almost like there's this cosmic bureaucracy managing interplanetary relations. Pretty wild concept.
Yeah, it is. And this session suggests that the Anunnaki are still uh, trying to secure a piece of Earth for themselves, maybe through deals with earthly powers.
Like some cosmic real estate deal gone wrong.
Right. So we've got all these different takes on their present day influence. What what do you think? What stands out to you from all these different perspectives?
Well, I think what's most interesting to me is how these sessions reflect our own anxieties,
What about?
about power, about control and the unknown, whether we're talking about ancient civilizations or extraterrestrial beings or even just shadowy organizations. We're always grappling with that question of who's really in charge.
Right. Like, are we calling the shots, or are we just pawns in some bigger game?
Yeah.
Which I guess brings us back to that question of whether the Anunnaki are even real.
Exactly.
Are they just something we've made up, a product of our collective imagination, or is there something more to these stories?
That's the million-dollar question, right? And these sessions don't really give us a definitive answer.
No, they don't.
But what they do is spark our curiosity, and they make us question our assumptions about the world.
And you know what else sparks my curiosity?
What's that?
That whole reptilian connection. We haven't really touched on that. One session goes really deep into that, suggesting that the Anunnakis, their reptilian nature might be part of something much bigger, like an interdimensional hierarchy.
Ah, yes. That one's a real head scratcher. The subject describes these reptilian beings as having these incredibly long lifespans, and they have this advanced knowledge of how to manipulate consciousness.
Oh, wow.
They're portrayed as masters of deception, infiltrating human societies and pulling strings from behind the scenes.
Now that's a scary thought. What if all those stories um, about reptilian overlords are actually true? Kind of reminds me of that old movie They Live, where the aliens are disguised as humans and controlling everything.
I know what you mean. It's a chilling concept, and it's easy to just dismiss those ideas as pure fiction.
Right.
But that idea of reptilian beings has been around for centuries, popping up in mythology and folklore.
It makes you wonder if there's a grain of truth hidden somewhere in those ancient stories.
It really does. And let's not forget about that session with the Intergalactic Federation. That idea of a cosmic governing body raises some really fascinating questions. What if there are rules and agreements that govern the interactions between different extraterrestrial civilizations?
Right. And what does that mean for humanity if we're not the only ones playing on this cosmic stage?
It's like our understanding of reality is constantly expanding, and maybe there's a point where science fiction and ancient mythology they kind of blur together.
Yeah, you're right. But let's not get too carried away with intergalactic federations and reptilian overlords. We still got to deal with the here and now. And one session actually paints a kind of bleak picture of the Anunnaki's current state. They describe their civilization as being in decline, like they're facing internal conflicts and challenges from other extraterrestrial factions.
Yeah, there's definitely a sense of impending doom in that session. Like their grip on power is slipping.
Okay, here's a thought. What if their decline is why we're seeing all this surge in human consciousness and spiritual awakening?
What do you mean?
Like maybe their hold on humanity is weakening.
Yeah.
And we're finally starting to break free.
That's a really interesting perspective. It suggests that human evolution might be connected to the ebb and flow of these cosmic forces.
Right. If the Anunnaki are losing their grip, maybe that creates an opportunity for humanity to step into its full potential.
I like that idea.
So maybe all those ancient stories about gods and fallen angels are just different ways of interpreting these cosmic power struggles.
It's definitely a possibility.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive,
We have.
from their possible origins and technology to their supposed influence on humanity. The Anunnaki they've proven to be a really fascinating subject.
And while these hypnosis sessions don't give us all the answers, they definitely give us a lot to think about. They challenge us to think outside the box and consider the possibility that that reality might be a lot more complex and mysterious than we ever imagined.
Yeah.
Exactly, and that's what we love about these deep dives. They're not about finding all the answers. They're about asking the right questions and keeping our minds open to the vastness of what we don't know.
Well said. So as we wrap up our exploration of the Anunnaki, we want to leave you with this question: if their influence is fading, what does that mean for the future of humanity? Are we on the verge of a new era of consciousness?
Yeah.
One where we finally break free from the shadows of the past and claim our rightful place in the cosmos.
It's definitely something to think about.
Yes.
And it's something we'll be exploring further in future deep dives.
For sure.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the Anunnaki. We'll be back soon with another exploration of the strange, the unknown, and the downright fascinating.
Can't wait.
Until then, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep an open mind to all the possibilities that are out there.